Outpost, Infinity Siege launches with DLSS 3 and new DLSS 2 games out now. Over 500 games and applications feature RTX technologies, and barely a week goes by without new blockbuster games and incredible indie releases integrating NVIDIA DLSS, NVIDIA Reflex, and advanced ray-traced effects to deliver the definitive PC experience for GeForce RTX gamers. This week, we're highlighting the release of DLSS 3, accelerated release of Outpost, Infinity Siege, and the launch of Alone in the Dark and Lightyear Frontier, which both feature DLSS 2. This batch of great new RTX releases follows the release of Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition, which boasted Day 1 support for NVIDIA DLSS 3, NVIDIA DLA, and NVIDIA Reflex. Additionally, Diablo 4's ray tracing update is out now. Learn more about each new announcement below. Outpost, Infinity Siege available now with DLSS 3. Team Ranger and Lightning Games. Outpost, Infinity Siege is a brand new first-person shooter where you can currently build your base and set up tower defense mazes to funnel enemies through, keeping them away from the core tower. Jump in your mech and explore the world while your base and towers deal with threats to find resources and new units to merge into your army. And for some added firepower, team up in online co-op with a friend in both the campaign and endless attack modes. Outpost, Infinity Siege launched today on Steam with Day 1 support for DLSS. GeForce RTX 40 series gamers can max out frame rates with NVIDIA DLSS 3 frame generation. All other GeForce RTX users can accelerate performance with DLSS 2's critically acclaimed super resolution technology. And everyone using a GeForce GPU can make gameplay even more responsive with NVIDIA Reflex. At 4K, with every setting maxed out, DLSS 3 will multiply performance by an average of 3.3x in Outpost, Infinity Siege. With this massive frame rate boost, GeForce RTX 4090 users can hit 160 FPS. The GeForce RTX 4080 Super exceeds 120 FPS, the GeForce RTX 4070 Ti Super tops 110 FPS, and the GeForce RTX 4070 Super surpasses 100 FPS, giving GeForce RTX 40 series gamers the definitive experience at the highest resolution, with everything cranked. At 2560 by 1440, DLSS 3 multiplies frame rates by an average of 2.5x, enabling every GeForce RTX 40 series GPU to exceed 60 FPS with settings maxed out. At the higher end, frame rates climb rapidly, hitting their peak on the GeForce RTX 4090, which records a result over 200 FPS. And finally, at 1920 by 1080, a 2.2x multiplier allows all GeForce RTX 40 series owners to play at over 100 frames per second with max settings, and up to 230 FPS as GPU power increases. Outpost, Infinity Siege is out now, so head on over to Steam to check it out. Diablo 4 ray tracing update out now. Load your game client and grab the brand new Diablo 4 update, which adds ray-traced effects to Sanctuary, making battles more dynamic and spectacular, and image quality even better. And with a GeForce RTX 40 series GPU, you can multiply performance by up to 3x thanks to DLSS 3. The launch of Diablo 4 was just the beginning for us. We are regularly iterating based on player feedback and exploring how we can enhance the visuals and dark atmosphere of the game. The addition of ray-traced effects is our next step in making the brutal world of Sanctuary feel more immersive than ever, said Michael Bukowski, Diablo 4 technical director. Effects like lightning strikes are now reflected in pools of blood and water, dank cellars and dungeons are more foreboding with realistic soft shadows, and the open world and towns are more grounded with additional realistic shadows and reflections. We are very excited for our community to experience this new technology. Diablo 4 launched with Day 1 support for DLSS, enabling GeForce RTX 40 series gamers to max out frame rates with NVIDIA DLSS 3 frame generation, and other GeForce RTX users to accelerate performance with DLSS 2's critically acclaimed super resolution technology. With the release of the Diablo 4 ray tracing update, DLSS 3 delivers a 3.1x average performance multiplier at 4K, with ray tracing and every other setting maxed out. On the world's most powerful gaming GPU, the GeForce RTX 4090, players can enjoy the definitive experience, with the very best graphics running at 144 frames per second. The recently released GeForce RTX 4080 Super and GeForce RTX 4070 Ti Super exceed 100 FPS, and the GeForce RTX 4070 and GeForce RTX 4070 Super handily pass 60 FPS. At 2560 by 1440, DLSS 3 boosts performance by an average of 2.3x, enabling all GeForce RTX 40 series gamers to experience Diablo 4 at max settings with ray tracing at over 60 FPS. On GeForce RTX 40 series laptops, a 2.2x performance multiplier at both 1920 by 1080 and 2560 by 1440 enables fast max setting, ray-traced gameplay on many laptop configurations. At 1080p, every laptop tested ran at over 80 FPS, while the GeForce RTX 4090 and 4080 laptops hit 120 FPS, with only a CPU bottleneck preventing even faster performance. At 2560 by 1440, GeForce RTX 4070 laptops can run at over 67 FPS with everything maxed. GeForce RTX 4080 laptops surpass 100 FPS, and the all-powerful GeForce RTX 4090 laptop achieved a blistering 116 FPS. For more information about Diablo 4's new ray tracing upgrade, head on over to our dedicated Diablo 4 ray tracing article. Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition available now with DLSS 3. Join Oyashi braves the distant lands of Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition, the critically acclaimed sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition, which also includes Burning Shores, the story expansion that picks up after the conclusion of the main game, along with bonus content. Explore distant lands, fight bigger and more awe-inspiring machines, and encounter astonishing new tribes as you return to the far future, post-apocalyptic world at Horizon. The land is dying. Vicious storms and an unstoppable blight ravage the scattered remnants of humanity, while fearsome new machines prowl their borders. Life on Earth is hurtling towards another extinction, and no one knows why. When Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition launched last week, gamers benefited from day one support for DLSS. GeForce RTX 40 series gamers could max out frame rates with NVIDIA DLSS 3 frame generation, and all other GeForce RTX users could accelerate performance with DLSS 2's critically acclaimed super resolution technology. At 4K, with every setting maxed out, GeForce RTX 40 series gamers were able to double their Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition frame rates by enabling DLSS 3 with just a few clicks. On the GeForce RTX 4090, performance topped 180 FPS, the GeForce RTX 4080 Super surpassed 144 FPS, the GeForce RTX 4070 Ti sped past 120 FPS, the GeForce RTX 4070 Super exceeded 110 FPS, and the GeForce RTX 4070 ran at over 90 FPS. At 2560 by 1440, a 1.7x performance boost saw all GeForce RTX 40 series GPUs surpass 80 FPS with every single setting maxed out. At the top of the stack, the GeForce RTX 4090 exceeded 230 FPS, and the GeForce RTX 40 Super Series GPUs ran at between 150 and 200 frames per second. At 1080p, the world's most popular gaming resolution, performance was even faster, enabling 120 frames per second gameplay on all GeForce RTX 40 series graphics cards. On GeForce RTX 40 series laptops, DLSS 3 delivered a 1.8x average frame rate improvement in Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition at both 1920 by 1080 and 2560 by 1440, enabling max setting gameplay on many laptop configurations, and up to 180 FPS on the most powerful GeForce RTX 4090 laptops. NVIDIA DLSS was also available to use at launch. This AI-based anti-aliasing mode utilizes the same technology developed for DLSS, but DLSS instead uses a native resolution image to maximize image quality, rather than boosting performance, for an even richer experience. And you can even combine DLSS with frame generation, for super fast, super detailed gameplay at the highest resolutions. With GeForce RTX, Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition players receive the definitive Day 1 experience. Go check it out now for yourself on Steam. Alone in the Dark available now with DLSS 2. Return to Dorsido Manor in Pieces Interactive's reimagining of Alone in the Dark, the 90s cult classic horror game. Available now, the new Alone in the Dark stars actors Jodie Comer, Killing Eve, Free Guy, and David Harbour, Stranger Things, Black Widow, who lend their voices, appearance, and formidable acting skills to the two playable protagonists, Emily Hartwood and Edward Carnby. Set in the Gothic American South in the 1920s, Alone in the Dark features a noir setting with classical Lovecraftian horror elements, where the familiar meets the surreal. Following last year's release of the free Alone in the Dark prologue, which featured DLSS 2, the full game is now available with support for DLSS 2. Enabling all GeForce RTX gamers to accelerate performance. Lightyear Frontier out now with DLSS 2 and DLSS. Framebreak and Amplifier Studios' Lightyear Frontier is a peaceful open-world farming adventure on a planet at the far edge of the galaxy. Climb into your versatile mech and start your new home on a distant planet with up to 3 friends as you farm alien crops, build your own homestead, and explore the untamed wilderness of the world. Available now on Steam and PC Game Pass, Lightyear Frontier included support for both DLSS 2 and DLSS when it entered early access last week, giving GeForce RTX gamers the best possible experience farming, exploring and building. Check back soon for even more RTX games. There are even more DLSS integrations arriving soon for a whole host of games. Return regularly for a rundown of the next DLSS and RTX titles, and head here to see the full list of over 500 RTX enhanced games and apps.